swear, within the next couple of years, there's going to be a sim drifter that's going to figure out a way to market himself correctly to where companies are going to believe in him, build him a car, and send him out to the wolves.
I'm trying my best.
Someone's going to do it. I know someone's going to do it. I would arguably say that you would probably find better drifters within VDC than you ever will in FD. There will be a team that grabs a sim drifter and puts all of the faith in it. If it has not happened already.
Yeah, it's happened already with RDS. They bought the runner-up like champions car of 2023. It's an E30 with a turbo LS, all carbon Kevlar body, and he's just driving it.
Dude,
it's super sick.
What a dream.
Yeah.
Wanted this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.
Welcome back to the #1 Drift Podcast on YouTube, presented by Injuku Racing. My name is Dawson, and today we have...
My name is Brandon Gardner.
Hell yeah, I appreciate you coming. You came from Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah.
Like, where exactly in Atlanta?
So,
like,
I live in a town called Cumming, Georgia. Spelled that way, too, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet that's pretty awkward when you have to explain it to people.
100%, yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, before we get into the podcast, of course, look below the video. Make sure that subscribe button is not still red. If it is, go ahead and click that and hit the bell notification while you're at it so you never miss an episode. And actually, if you didn't see last episode, it was the 100th episode with Chris Simpak from Kansei. And we did giveaway. So you actually have until 11:59 p.m. Central Time today to go and comment which giveaway you want to get into. So that's either Kansei Wheels, a full set, BC Racing coilovers, or $375 Injuku credit. So... go into that. I will be throwing merch in along with every single one of those. So all you got to do is hashtag whichever company you want to enter. That simple. But you got to be subscribed too. So yeah, that's all I got on that. So go do that now. And of course, like any parts and stuff that we talk about throughout the podcast, more than likely will be on Injuku, which is always linked in the description. But yeah. That's all I got. So if you want to kind of give an introduction on who you are, what you do, anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Brandon. I am the esports drifter for Forsberg Racing, so Chris Forsberg. And then I'm also an entrepreneur and a good old content creator. So
nice. The #1 small business in the U.S. right now. I think that's the way I'm supposed to say it. I don't know. Content creation. Yeah. So why did you decide to do that? We'll start there.
So I guess the business side of things, like why I went down the entrepreneur side.
Well, let's start with why you just wanted to create content in general.
Okay. Yeah. I've always enjoyed making content and I guess watching content as well. So like when I was 6, I got like a little Toshiba camcorder.
Nice.
Like from my parents for like my birthday. Yeah, and for some reason, I was really interested in trash trucks for whatever reason it was. It could have been like the mechanics of it. Definitely wasn't like the smell of them, but I was really interested in like the mechanics of it and how it like all worked. So like on trash day, I would go outside. I would like record with my little Toshiba Handycam, whatever. I would record it outside my house, and then I'd upload the raw files onto YouTube when I was like 6. But yeah,
that's hilarious.
And then like as the years went on, I would have like little phases. Like I had a Forza gaming channel. Like back when I was like 10, I got bullied for like my voice because I was a little squeaker. That was
fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck you. But yeah, that was a time. But yeah, and then just started getting more into I guess the sim racing side of things. And I wanted to get I want to create content. I always watch like the Slap Train and like gamers like that. And I guess, I was getting more into the sim racing side of things. So I want to make content, and the easiest way to do it, and still is now, is short form content. So I'd record like,
that's everything.
Yeah, really is. Yeah. So I'd like record myself drifting on like my rig, and I'd overlay like the gameplay on top of it.
Yep.
And then I just upload it to TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram. And
It
then,
seems like the simple formula for sim drifting for content wise.
it really is. Yeah. Now it's kind of dying. I've noticed that like a lot. Like now the formula is like get as good of settings you possibly can on your computer and make like super realistic videos. Cause I know a few people that are doing that now and they've grown to like 150, 200,000 followers. There's this one dude who has like 550,000 followers because like everyone in the comments is like, oh my God, is this game or is this real? And he gets like 30 million views a video. It's insane.
I've seen those, and
Yeah.
it's very tricky sometimes to figure out.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, I don't really want to go down that route, but I kind of
Right.
am. I'm like trickling into it. But yeah, now I'm more doing like the education side of things, trying to bring value
Yeah.
instead of just doing that sort of thing. So
Right, which we'll get into all that. Don't worry.
yeah.
But so actually, how long have you been sim drifting just entirely?
So
Jesus, told you she's the spaz.
She is.
Luna, my cat. If you heard that, I don't even know if you could hear
that
that.
was crazy. She just came in bolting in. So I got my first Forza when I was like 9. I got like Forza 4, and I wouldn't consider that to be like sim racing, but I got like serious with it. Like I started getting like a sim rig and like a wheel back in Forza 7. I want to say like when I was 13. I'm 20 now, so like
Gotcha.
7-ish years ago. Yeah, 7
Okay.
years, 7 years and some change around there.
Damn, so that's a long time.
Yeah.
7 years. Okay, so then I guess when did you like first learn about the sim just in general? Because you said you were messing with the camera and stuff.
Mhm.
So what happened for you to even find out about sim racing?
So I guess it comes from and it originates from, I guess, like the YouTubers, like the ones who would have like Forza Let's Plays or like Forza videos. One of them, and I mentioned him earlier, the Slap Train, he did a esports series on Forza. And I'm like, I was really into FD then. Like when I was like 9, 10, I went to my first FD event at Road Atlanta. I think it was Road Atlanta
Nice.
2014. So I'm like, this drifting thing's kind of cool. And I'm like, well, I'm 10. I can't drive a car. So how can I get closer to it, you know?
Yeah.
So then like the Forza path came along. And I was like just looking at it, watching it. And then I like was bored one day. It was like the summer going into my freshman year of high school. And I'm like, I want to see if I could do this. And back then it was super simple. You literally just filled out a Google form of like what your car is and what your name is. And then you submit it and then you could drive. So then that's all I did. Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's
then that's
easy.
how I got started.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So then what, like you said, what was the first sim rig you said you got?
So the first sim rig I
guess-
got, I was on a controller at first.
Oh,
And
okay.
then-
yeah.
Then I
figured.
got a sim rig. It was a Thrustmaster TX, like the very, basic
Gotcha.
Thrustmaster wheel. And then I had a wheel stand pro. It was like a ergonomic type wheel stand. It was just like a tube. It was like 3 tubes like that would, like make an eye with your pedal plate and then
Re-
one coming up and just it was really simple. It's kind of dainty, but
I'm sure it was very wobbly.
oh
and
yeah, it was
yeah.
it would do the wobbles. It was great.
slinging the steering wheel. It
Yeah.
just shifts all the way over.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good starting point, but yeah, it was definitely like a starter rig
Yeah.
per se.
So did you even have like a handbrake set up and stuff at that
No.
point?
No,
So how did you use? or
so
what was the
back then
makeshift?
the meta wasn't really like back then for Forza stuff. Now if you do this on like the modern sims, it's stupid. But back then you would use a lower steering rotation, so it would
Okay.
only turn like anywhere from 270 to 540 degrees.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'd have to use a button like on the steering wheel
Oh, no way.
to like pull the handbrake and stuff like that. Or you could use, actually, I had like a shifter. You could have a shifter, and you could pull like the paddle on the wheel. I would use my right
Okay.
paddle as my handbrake. But yeah, just anything to make it work and make you as competitive as possible.
It's got to be confusing when the wheel's spinning.
Yeah,
Don't the
it-
paddles spin with it?
It would spin with it, but it's like a lot of people put the steering rotation at either like 270, which is like going like this and this. So you just pull it.
Okay.
Like your
So
hand
like
would always be there, you know, so you could be
F1
mid drift
car
and like
kinda.
yeah, exactly. Kind of like an F1 car. So like you could be mid drift and like pull the handbrake. And then, you know, it's not like you're reaching out and pulling it or like trying to find it when it's rotating.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Dude, have you seen the I don't know if he makes like content consistently or anything, but a dude that drives with one of those wheels, like in his actual car.
Really?
Yeah, with like an F1 steering wheel.
No.
And it does that.
Seriously.
It's just that much and it's snappy as fuck.
Oh, I do see that.
I've seen that video a couple
times. He competes
times.
against me. He drives like an M2 in like Europe or something. Right?
Really?
Yeah. It's like it's an
Holy shit.
LMP1 wheel in like a 2 series. It's like a JZ 2 series.
Yeah.
And he's like got I think he has the e-brake on the wheel. It's crazy. It's really cool. And I think it's like different. A lot of people hate on him because it's like, oh, it's not drifting. You're not letting the wheel flick. But I mean, he does really well.
Dude, I don't know. That seems exponentially harder to handle.
Yeah.
When the wheel is not spinning.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's like a go-kart when it's just turning like this. But yeah, I compete with him on the sim. His name's Roman, I think, but he's a cool guy and yeah, has a pretty unique steering setup. So
I assume his sim rig is set up the same way too, probably.
I think it is. I want to say he runs like I think I've seen a video he runs like VR, but he doesn't have a formula wheel. He just has a round wheel, but he does I know. I don't get it. Kind of backwards, but he does use just a round wheel. It has like buttons and stuff on it. It's not like a grip royal wheel, but it's it's just a round wheel that you'd get from like any type of company. So
that's hilarious. So he runs in VDC too.
Yes,
then?
he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. It's not my world, so I just don't know much about it.
Yeah.
Even though I've talked to so many people that do sim drifting and stuff, I can't comprehend it because I suck at it so much. Okay, so like whenever you first got that sim, you said it was Thrustmaster, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how difficult was it to like actually set up? Like, did you even have the knowledge of setting one up, or were you pretty technologically inclined? I guess
I feel like I was blessed, I guess, where I was like around people within the community who knew how to set up the wheel.
Gotcha.
So it's like I kind of got a little head start. Like it did take some getting used to. It took like a week or two to really grasp it. But I didn't just hop in like some 900 horsepower car. I like started at like 4 and then started to work my way up with that sort of thing. But before I could really like link a whole track like decently, it took about, a week of like adjusting the wheel, like understanding like how to, catch the wheel, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So what, like you said, adjust the wheel. What are you actually adjusting?
So
just the tension on it?
So within the wheel, like you have software within the wheel and you could adjust a bunch of different, I guess you could say, nuances. So the force feedback, that's what it's called, like the wheel being able to self-steer and go back and forth, that's called force feedback. You can adjust that within like the software and also in-game. And then there's a lot of different nuances with it. So you can adjust the damper. So, how much like, how can I describe it? When it, I guess, how heavy the wheel can feel, or when it's rotating and, say there's like a numb spot, or it's like you can't really feel anything, you adjust the damper, that sort of thing. There's a bunch of different settings within the wheel itself that you can adjust, but the main part that you should be adjusting is the force feedback. That's the main component of things, I guess.
Okay. So if, for example, someone that's getting into sim drifting more specifically, rather than going into a car first, but eventually like that's the goal, how would you tell someone to set up that stuff? Because you said the force feedback, right?
Yeah.
Is that primarily what you're going to be adjusting? Because you're not going to know what steering's supposed to feel like in drifting if you've never done it.
Yeah.
So like, how would you replicate it without knowing, I guess?
So that's a very fair point. So a lot of it is like, especially me not driving a car, like a lot of it is reference from like people like who have driven a car, but then also Just
That wasn't to like come at you or
No,
anything,
no,
too.
no,
I
of
just
course.
realized that, by the
No.
way. I swear to God.
no, I'm not offended. Just so everyone knows, I'm not offended. But I guess a lot of it is just reference off of like, you know, seeing how cars like turn, like looking at wheels, seeing how they turn, how they rotate, right? For the most part, like 99% of wheels, you should be able to adjust the force feedback and all the other nuances, so like damping, wheel speed, inertia, all this stuff that you can adjust within it to make it, you know, self-steer and stuff like
Right.
that. And then a great thing people can do now is a lot of like content creators like myself and people who are in the sim racing space, they have settings that you could use. So like back when I started,
Like downloadable presets?
Yeah.
Almost?
yeah,
Okay,
like
so that makes
JSON
it
files
super
that you could
easy.
just download onto your computer, load into the software, and then you could
Nice.
just go, you know?
Yeah, I saw that on. I went to your link tree and went
Mhm.
through a couple of those, and I saw you actually have some of those packs listed,
Mhm.
like for sale, I guess, right? Or
Not
they're just
not
downloadable.
for sale. Yeah, there's some like posts on like my Instagram where I just take screenshots and upload the screenshots, and they can do it.
Nice.
And then like they can also go to like my Discord or Linktree and download the actual JSON file, so you can just
Gotcha.
upload it into your computer. Yeah.
That's cool.
Mhm.
So when did you start that? Like, when was that?
What do you mean when?
To where you could just go into and get the links and download them.
that's been more of a recent thing, like the past year or two. Yeah, it's like software for wheels are getting a lot better, and these companies are creating, I guess, a shareable ecosystem. So
Mhm.
like for some wheel brands, for instance, like say Sim Magic, you could download like Ryan Literal's wheel settings like directly off of
That's cool. Hell
Sim
yeah.
Magic's website, and you could just load them up, and then you could just go. So it's not so much like adjusting things, like, you know, not having an idea. It's like now you have a base point that's actually like reputable that
Yeah,
you can
just
go off
work
of.
off of.
Yeah,
Make
for
minor
sure.
adjustments, see how it feels, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Stuff like that.
Well, that's cool. At least I'm sure whenever you got into it back then, none of that stuff was around really, right?
Yeah.
So you just kind of had to work from scratch.
Yeah, and the wheels were a lot less powerful back then.
True.
So it's like these wheels now, you buy a low end wheel, and there's two types. I guess I could touch on this.
Yeah.
There's like gear driven and belt driven wheels, which is like your Logitech like G27, G920. Those are gear driven. So the mechanism within the wheel, it's a bunch of gears that work together. The reason why they're called like clunk boxes at times, because the teeth on the gears can break. Yeah.
And they kinda slap
clunk.
back and
Yeah,
forth,
they
yeah.
slap back and forth. And then like the TX that I had, that is like a gear driven and a belt driven. So it uses both of them. So it's a lot smoother, and there's not that issue of teeth breaking off.
Mhm.
But you still don't get like, I guess, that direct feedback, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
so then there's the direct drive wheels, which has gotten way better. Because I remember when I first started to get like an entry direct drive wheel, it was like $1,500. Now you could get them for like 300 to 500.
Yeah,
So,
the Moza stuff, from what I've seen, is probably like the best reputable cheap stuff. Almost.
the issue with the Moza stuff, I used to work directly with Moza, so I've
Okay.
gone through like their whole line of things. Like I've had every single Moza product, like every single
Yeah.
wheelbase. Their biggest issue is there's an oscillation issue with those wheels. So it's
Okay.
like when you're going down like a straight, say, and you're in a drift car, you can let go of the wheel, and if everything up front's fine, it's not gonna like wobble back and forth crazy.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Correct
yeah,
me if
yeah.
I'm wrong, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct.
So driving down, it's like that. On a Moza, you let go, and it slowly starts to go like this, and it just keeps oscillating, and then eventually it's like turning like 360.
Jeez.
right? Yeah. So that's the biggest issue with those wheels. Especially for like
Would that
entry.
just be like balancing inside the mechanism?
It's a software issue. They've dealt with this
Oh.
for Moza has dealt with it for years. Like it's been a couple years, and they're
Gotcha.
always trying to fix it, but then they never can, which kind of sucks, you know.
Hmm.
And it
That's
sucks because
concerning.
yeah, it is concerning. There's still decent wheels to go off of. Like I competed this whole last like season with a Moza, and I did pretty decently, right?
Nice. Okay.
And so there's still decent wheels. It's just you don't get the same like feedback out of them, where if you were to spend a little more, you could get like, you
Yeah.
know, good feedback out of it and the self steer. Like I had to turn down my wheel a lot to get good self steer, because it would like, I guess I call it when it chunks like through rotation. So like spin like 270, then another 270,
Yeah.
and then extra 100. So it wouldn't be like a smooth self steer. But if you're looking for like, I guess a beginner friendly wheel, I would just save your money and go for like a SimMagic Alpha Mini. Like one of
SimMagic
those.
is what I've seen like kind of taken over, being your almost like Apple
Yeah.
of sim racing.
Yeah. The only thing, like, SimMagic is a fantastic company. Like, I just started like using their products now.
Mm-hmm.
Night and day difference. Like, I compared my like, I have like the higher end Alpha U, and then I
Okay.
compared it to the Moza's like R21, which is their high end.
Yeah.
Comparatively between the two, like the SimMagic wins all day. It's like there's no oscillation issue. It self steers like consistently, and you could turn up the force feedback and like the in-game like force feedback, where like if I were to drift with like my Moza, I'd go over a curb, I couldn't feel it because I'd have to turn down the force feedback so much where I couldn't feel the
Oh, yeah.
vibrations in the curb. Now with the SimMagic, I could do it and say I hit a curb, I could feel it. Like, I was too inside,
Yeah.
you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, the only thing with SimMagic, it's like Moza, they are so good at marketing. It's scary how good they are. They have like a network of 25 million followers with like content creators. It's
No
insane.
way.
Yeah. They got some
I just must
big
be out of
dogs.
touch with the sim world then, because to me, like SimMagic looks like the big dog
yeah.
from the outside. I
Mhm.
guess I don't know.
So like SimMagic's definitely the big dog in drifting, which is awesome. Like there's no other brand that cares about drifting that much in the sim world. It's
Okay.
like that's kind of why I moved over to SimMagic, because Moza is, I call it more of a consumer based product. So they're in like micro centers. You guys have micro centers around here? It's kind
Maybe
of like,
not.
it's kind of like a Best Buy, but it specializes in like PC building and stuff like that.
More so in Nashville, probably. Out here,
Okay.
nah. There might be one in Murfreesboro.
Yeah.
Which is 20 minutes up the road. But
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So Moza is in micro centers, which is, you know, you could literally go into the store and buy the wheel.
bundle
So
and
it's
all
like
that.
a lot more accessible to the common consumer. Whereas for SimMagic, they have, I think it's 4 distributors for the US.
Mhm.
And I don't think there's any like huge stores like nationwide that you could just walk in and buy a wheel. You have to order it, and you have to,
Gotcha.
so you don't get that like instant gratification, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, and Moza has like their own drivers. They have this creator called Jimmy Broadbent. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He's
That sounds familiar.
yeah, he races like
Hmm.
I want to say he races like a GT4 car on the Nürburgring, and he's got like a Miata,
way.
stuff like that. Yeah, and Moza directly sponsor him. So it's like Moza has really capitalized.
Crazy.
Moza's really capitalized, yeah, on like the marketing aspect of things.
Yeah.
Where SimMagic, they're very much an enthusiast driven brand. So, you know, they have the FD activation and that stuff with like extreme sim racing. But as a whole, when it comes to like, you know, their creator network or being in stores, stuff like that, they haven't really nailed that down yet. But I feel like once they do that, it's like, okay, now we have a brand that's a lot more affordable that people can go in who are serious about racing, and they
Yeah.
can just pick it up and buy it, you know?
I bet they'd be able to sell it at a lot cheaper price too. Doing
Yeah.
it that way, they'd be putting out a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. That's how Moses sells it so cheap. Like why it's like the affordable thing. Because, you know, like an Alpha Mini, which is SimMagic's lowest wheelbase,
Mm.
that's like just the wheelbase is $500, which isn't, you know, it's not bad at all. But then Moses is 300. So if you're on like a
True.
strict budget,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, that 300 looks a lot better because you're spending less and you're
Yeah.
getting it. So, yeah,
That number's gonna look a lot prettier at
Yeah.
that moment.
for sure.
Okay, so I guess with God, you got a lot of knowledge on this stuff. This is crazy. What would be something that people don't necessarily mention a lot when it comes to getting into sim racing with no knowledge? Like you have no idea. You know you wanted to get into drifting eventually. but you want to start at a sim just because it's cheap. Like, what is something that is not normally said that is difficult to deal with or set up or whatever it is? Comprehend.
I really think the biggest misconception is it's difficult, I guess. Because in my opinion, it's like compared to like a car, like you want to
Okay.
get a car, there's a lot more nuances and things that could break on a car.
Yeah,
Whereas,
you gotta
like,
know a lot.
yeah. And with, sim racing, it's pretty straightforward when it comes to things, You get your wheel, your pedals, your wheelbase, shifter, handbrake, and like, something to mount it on. And then a computer and a screen. That's about it. And then if you don't cheap out on things, that's a big thing. It's like if you have the mindset that you're into cars and you love cars, like you're a car enthusiast, I don't think you should cheap out on a sim. Like I
I
feel,
agree.
People wanting to spend, I want to spend $500 on my sim rig. It's like you could do it, but you're probably going to buy something better in like 6 months, or you're going to want to.
Yeah.
So it's like, might as well save a couple more paychecks, like, a couple more months of paychecks and buy like, not something high end, but something, higher quality for a little more.
Like intermediate grounds.
Yeah,
probably.
for sure. Yeah. Like I think you could get a direct drive wheel, which, hearing from FD drivers, feeling like the different wheels myself, like a direct drive wheel is what you should be getting when it comes to like your wheelbase. It gives the best inputs, it's the most consistent. It's just what you need. If you could get that, and then like, say you have like a steering wheel, like if you have a grip royal or something laying around, or even if you go buy like a cheap eBay wheel, right?
Right.
Wheelbase and a wheel is like $600. And then you spend, I think pedals are really important too. Like, in my opinion, you want to correct things with your feet rather rather than your hands. And it's something that should be implicated not only in the sim or not only in real life, but also in the sim. So spending a little more on some pedals. I think like all in, if you buy like a, not a high end setup, but like a low end intermediate setup, I think you could get away with like spending $2,000, decent PC, maybe 25. I think 25 is more realistic, but decent PC, a monitor, like maybe a used or a cheaper rig. You could get away with like 2,500 to 2,750, and that may seem like a lot, but it's like 350Z is like $6,000. So it's and then you gotta buy tires, fuel, stuff will break. It adds up, So it's just
Very true.
Like spend a little more on your sim, and you'll get a lot more enjoyment out of it for sure.
Well, let me ask you this then. So you started in a Thrustmaster. So how long did you have that set up until you grew out of it, and why did you grow out of it? Like, what was it that was, I'm done. I need something better.
I had the Thrustmaster. I think I had that thing for like 3 years or so. And honestly, yeah, it lasts a long time. They're not too shabby. Like they're good wheels if you take care of them. Yeah. I had it for 3 years. Like just gotta dust it sometimes because the dust can clog up stuff. But yeah, 3 years. And then really it's because the direct drive market. So like I said, like before direct drive wheels, like an entry level direct drive wheel would be like $1,500. And then Fanatec came out with the CSL DD, which is like their low end direct drive. It's like $500.
Okay.
It's like double the force feedback like output as a Thrustmaster.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more affordable and obtainable. And that wheel really shot us into where sim racing is today. Because
that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, because without that wheel, I had one of those, and it was good. It had some issues, but that's besides the point.
For like where it was though in the times and market, like it was probably a pretty top of the line.
Yeah, it was
wheel.
game changing because
Cool.
everyone else who's doing direct drive, it would be like you got to spend a minimum of $1,500 on just the base. Then you got to buy a wheel if you want to go like road racing. It's like a $700 wheel. Then Fanatec came out and was like, "Hey, we got this." And then all these other companies with like these, I'm not gonna say like low end, but cheaper or more affordable direct drive wheels started coming out. And then that really changed the landscape of sim racing today, and it made getting good, like consistent product coming out, and yeah, that's where we are today. So
Gotcha.
yeah, Fanatec just changed the game with that for sure.
Shit. So, well, I actually remember seeing Fanatec for the first time on Taylor Ray,
Mhm.
one of his videos and stuff, setting his up. That's where I kind of learned more about sim racing, or just like in general that it was very obtainable. But if you were like in that same position where you were kind of grown out and like that wheel base and stuff didn't come out, like that wasn't an aspect of it.
Mhm.
What kit, or I guess what base and pedal setup, like what all of that would you get if you were in that same position, but with today's selection?
I don't really know. I can't entirely answer that. Sorry, there's cat hair in my mouth.
Sorry,
It's crazy.
that's my fault.
It's all good. I can't really say that because like today's selection, it's like Moza, Sim Magic, those are all direct drive bases. And I feel like maybe if that wheelbase didn't come out, I don't think those companies would be around today. Like we'd still be on.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know the entire like outlook. I'd have to go back and try to remember. But I think Sim Magic had a direct drive at the time. Yeah, it was called the M10. That was still like an $800 wheelbase. So we were getting lower and we were getting more into the affordability range. And I think now, that being like 4 years ago, I feel now like we'd have some similar stuff, but it's like that creation of the CSLDD really just shot us into the direction of like, you know, people getting out like wheelbases like this. Like up until the beginning of this year, it seemed like every quarter a new wheelbase, like a new like budget direct drive wheelbase would be coming out. So it's like,
okay,
I really can't answer that question because I don't really know. Like that, it's like, I just feel
I
like
haven't tried enough to tell.
not even that.
Kind of scenario.
I just feel the marketplace would be so different now than it would be, you know, if that wheelbase never came out. I feel the market today would be so much different. I wouldn't even know where it'd be. I think we'd all still be on, you know, belt or gear driven wheels, you know.
God.
I don't know, but
Clunk, 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 clunk,
yeah,
clunk,
clunking around.
clunking everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Now all you hear is the squeaking everywhere from the bass.
Yeah.
Or like the I guess the stand. Is that what it
Yeah.
would be?
The rig. I guess
Yeah,
you
the
call
rig.
it.
That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, well tell me, like, what is your exact setup?
Mhm.
Like just obviously the wheel, pedal, shifter, all that setup. Like, do you have any like add-ons? Like people put smoke machines on them and like have the motion rig and like what? Give me a breakdown of what your rig is.
Yeah. So the rig itself, so I guess the chassis or the rig, whatever you want to call it, is a Ricmotech AP Extreme setup. That's like
Okay.
Ricmotech's based out of Florida, US based company. If you live in Florida, you go to like F1 events. They have like demonstrations at like F1 events, activations, that sort of thing. So I have one of those. Then I have all Sim Magic stuff kitted out with that. The Alpha U wheelbase, which is 23 Newton meters of like output torque.
Okay.
The P1000 pedals, and then on the P1000s, I have a hydraulic system that I could put on my brake pedal, and then a haptic on my brake. So when I brake, it's kind of like ABS where it like kicks back at you or it like vibrates.
Yeah, it gives you a
bit.
little feedback.
Yeah, it gives me a little feedback. And then handbrake, I have a Sim Magic TBRS, which is a hydraulic handbrake.
Okay.
It's very nice. It feels just like I've felt handbrakes in real cars. Like it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
And then I have a Sim Magic Q1, which is a sequential handbrake, nice clunker. And then when I sit in a Recaro pole position.
Okay.
So very comfy. Shout out Forsberg. That was a welcoming gift from
Hell
Forsberg's
yeah, that's
crew.
cool.
So, dude, it was sick. I could sleep in that thing. It's so comfortable. And yeah, then I have a PC I built myself, and then I have just a single screen 32-inch monitor. So nothing crazy on that. I want to go either virtual reality or triple screens eventually, but yeah, pretty basic setup, no like motion or nothing like that.
Gotcha. Well, I want to ask about the hydraulics in the pedals.
Mhm.
Is that very like common to do now, and like also, is it very customizable? I guess, is it where you said you could just run it on the brake pedal, and like if you wanted to run it on, not run one at all on the other pedals and stuff, like how does that work?
Yeah, so a lot of pedals now don't have hydraulics. I feel it's getting more common, but
Okay.
a lot of them are potentiometers that like measure like how much input you're putting into it, and they have load cells in them. It's like a load cell. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it measures like your input and how like hard you push into it, or it might just be set on like, I think it's set because you could get like load cells of different kilogram weights. So like 100 kilogram load cell, a 200 kilogram load cell, and it's always like how like hard you push it in. Whereas like a hydraulic, it feels like an actual brake pedal, where when you push it in, it's not like just always like you got to push in super hard, that sort of thing. But yeah, on the throttle and the clutch, it's potentiometer, and they have elastomers in the SimMagic stuff, so you can adjust how stiff it is. There's like different little rubbers that you could put into the pedals. If you want like your throttle stiffer or your clutch stiffer, you could put different springs and elastomers. They're just little rubber things you could put in the SimMagic pedals.
Okay. And wait, those like, that just controls the tension of the clutch, I guess?
Yeah.
Is there anything that, because one thing driving some of the simple rigs that I've driven, you, in a real car, you can feel that tiny little bit in the clutch where the plates actually connect and like touch each other. Is there anything that you can incorporate on a clutch pedal that will give you that same effect? Because
so kind of
that's
like
always been one thing that bothers me on
like
a
a bite point.
Yeah, basically.
They're getting a lot better with it. It's not like perfect now, but like the SimMagic pedals I have, there is a bite point to it, which is really cool. Yeah.
Dude,
it's getting to a point where it's like, it's not entirely there, but you could definitely feel like there's a different, phases of the clutch where you could like feel it come in.
There's a tension difference.
Out. Yeah, because I know on like the cheaper like Moza Thrustmaster pedals, you just push in and it's just like this, and that's it.
Yeah, it's almost like an on-off switch.
Yeah, it's just it's like a light switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like they're getting more advanced with it, and the SimMagic pedals that I use, I think all SimMagic pedals, they have like different phases within the clutch where it kind of does feel like a bite point.
Okay. That's cool. That would be really interesting to see how that feels. I wonder who's got one in Tennessee. I want to try that. Or probably I just need to go to another FD event.
Exactly.
Try it there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned you only had a 32-inch monitor. You said it's a curved monitor.
Yeah, it's just a slight curve.
Would that even matter being that small of a screen?
No, really doesn't. No.
So what is your opinion on the argument, especially since you're looking at going to either 3-monitor setup or VR? What is your opinion on the whole VR versus screen setup?
This is good. This is good.
To me, it makes me very nauseous doing VR. So.
Yeah. So some people do have that nausea problem with VRs. And I'd say if you want the most like immersion where you want it to be like a car,
right,
get triple screens, because you could set it up, and in my opinion, you want to measure out like, like where you're sitting at, like to the screen, and like set it up in a ratio where it's like you could get the most immersion, right? I know quite a few people, FD drivers, esports drivers that have triple screens, and they say, it's pretty good. But what I will say, if you don't get nauseous with the VR and you drive in real life, use it. Because I've seen 2 people in particular, Ryan Literal, Nick Novak. They drive on either single screens or triples, and they'd be, okay. Like Ryan and Nick, they both compete a lot on the sim. They drive VDC, stuff like that. Ryan even won a round, right?
Yep.
And so when they went VR, it just changed everything. And it gave that immersion, and they can, use their head. They got that sense of like, not only, I guess, speed sort of, but the sense that they're actually in a car because they're so immersed in the VR headset. They could turn their heads properly, that sort of thing. So yeah, I think VR's, if you get sick, then you probably shouldn't use it. But if you're cool with it and then you could try one out, going VR could be like your saving grace if you think like, oh, I'm not immersed into the sim with like whatever it may be. Because I know a lot of people have that issue, or they're thrown off with like the lack of immersion. So going VR can definitely fix that issue. Not really fix, but I guess sort of band-aid, fix the issue, we'll just say.
I learned that because I would go to Scott's house, Scotty D, and try his, and his is VR setup. You don't even have a screen in front of the sim. So I've been trying to like hop on his for a few minutes with the VR, hop off so that I can like kind of get myself used to it. Dude, running it, just having a fan blowing on you is like killer of a difference.
Yeah.
Just having some type of wind blowing on your face or like just on your body, somewhere you can feel it. It doesn't even have to be directly.
Yeah.
And dude, it helps so much. Because I get the sweats. Like, is that normal when you're in VR? You get like this, like you get hot as hell.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's just off. Your brain's off.
Yeah,
because
it feels like you're so immersed. I sweat in my rig. My room gets hot, but that's besides the point. But you sweat either way, like if you're driving hard. But yeah, I think VR definitely helps. The only issue with VR from a competitive aspect, there's some optimization issues with the VR headsets. So, Ryan Literal spotter Zach O'Sullivan, he's the last VDC champion. For the first round this year, he used VR, but he was like, I'm having issues. And he has like a top of the line PC, like best parts on the market, and his frames would drop. So that means like when you look in real life, it's like everything's nice and smooth, whatever. And then when you're in a game, if you ever had a game buffer, that's what like losing frames is, right? You lose performance in your computer. And he had those issues with the VR. So like from a competitive aspect, it's not the best thing. Like I would go triples over VR, and Zach went triples and then he won the championship. So coincidence, maybe. But it's like if you're just hanging out, like you're just like using the sim as a tool, you're not really competing with it. I think getting a VR, you could get them pretty cheap. You could get like a MetaQuest 2 like on Marketplace for like $250. Okay. And you could just plug it right in and go. I would invest in trying to like look into that as like a solution to like the lack of immersion problem. So
yeah. So okay, then with all of that knowledge and you going to search for this stuff yourself, where are you leaning towards personally more?
Definitely triples. The only thing with triples is they could take up a lot of space, but it's just, you find some space, you clear out whatever room you're in.
I don't know, man. If you got enough room for a full sim, like a whole rig, setup, chassis, everything, I feel like you got enough for 3 monitors.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's not that much more room.
Yeah, it's not that much more room, but it's not too much real estate. It's like maybe like 5-6 feet by like 8, so like 50 square feet you need. But definitely leaning more towards triples, probably like triple 32-inch monitors. That's like the smallest monitor you could go.
That was my next question. Like, what size would be the correct route to go?
The smallest you should go for triples. You could go smaller, but it's just too small at that point, in my opinion. I just go with 32-inch monitors. And from like a cost standpoint, sure, it'll cost like some money, but comparing it to like bigger monitors, like some people, you can see these crazy setups where they have these, Samsung makes this big curved monitor. It's like a 55-inch monitor. The Odyssey. And they got 3 of them, and it's like $5,000 worth of monitors right there.
I saw one, which I completely understand why he did it this way. I don't know if this was just for the video, but it seems like it would be good for your brain to make sense of. So he had it outside on like this patio area. So the floor was concrete and it was blue skies, so clear skies, and like he was up a little higher in elevation, so all you could see was the sky over the screen. So as long as the screen was blue skies, everything above looked normal, and it was a 3 monitor setup with the Odysseys and everything, so it was massive. I mean, enormous. But no matter if you looked below the screen or above the screen, it almost matched whatever terrain was inside the game too.
Huh.
So the 3 monitor setup just made it like that, and it was motion simulated. So like there's no way it didn't feel like you were almost exactly in a car.
Yeah. I could just imagine, all I could think about is the sun. If it's at the wrong angle, you just get crazy screen.
Right, yeah.
I would go bigger, but it's just a room issue at that point.
Yeah.
Like 32 is the smallest. And you still get great immersion. Like, I know many people who are like switching to triples and they just go 32. It's the simplest. You could go like 48 like screens, because I know like LG and Gigabyte make like 48-inch monitors, or you could go the big Odysseys, but you need like a dedicated like room for that. 'Cause
Yeah.
of just how much room it takes up.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so I guess what brand did you say specifically you were gonna go with? Probably, if you did the 3 monitor.
So I'm between two. So I'm thinking about going just normal 32s, and LG has their Ultra Gear stuff. But
Okay.
I've also been looking at, people are doing this. I know a guy who like builds sims, and he's been like doing this for people, is getting like widescreen monitors. So like
Okay.
having triple widescreen, like 34 widescreen, is just more, it's a bigger, I guess, more real estate like around you.
Field of view almost.
Yeah, field of view. So maybe doing that too.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. So would it be necessary for stuff like that to have like the monitor be 4K, or like is 1080p more than justifiable?
It's just my monitor's now 1080, but I would like to be at least 2K. Like that would be
True.
ideal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's 2024. Like 2K is like the new 1080, so might as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the content a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, when about in the drift or sim drifting, I guess you would call it career,
Mm-hmm.
did you start making the content specifically?
Yeah. So when I first started, like getting serious about it, I made like my Instagram page now, but I wasn't like serious. This was before like Reels was out, so it was like 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'd like, because on Xbox you could like click the home button, and it might have been like X or something, and it like records the past 30 seconds. So I just take that, and then I just like upload it to OneDrive, download it to my phone, like upload it onto like Instagram.
cool.
So I used to do that, but then when was it? I think it was summer of 2021 or 2022. I can't remember, but it's when like people started making like the wheel cam stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
There's this one dude who blew up from it. His name's Devin. Shout out Devin if you're watching this. But he helped me out with like getting it set up, that sort of thing. And then I was just like, it was the summer of 2022 is when I graduated
Okay.
high school. So I was like, I was just like grinding out videos every single day and just uploading them, like just
Nice.
getting consistent with it. So yeah, that's when it really started. And then that fall, I got like a big spike in followers. Like one of my videos blew up. It was like some trend thing. And then yeah, just been rocking out with it.
Trends work, dude. I don't know.
They do work.
They fucking
If you
work.
spot, it was super early. It was like,
Yeah.
it was like for like low follower count. It was like, oh, if you got low followers, it's like, oh, thanks to the 50 people that follow me, and then like everyone would like follow them. It was like that sort of trend.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
it definitely, yeah, it helped, and it's like, maintained and grown from there. So yeah, it's been cool just rocking out with that. And now I'm starting to grow my YouTube. I think that's the next step in
Yeah.
the content, like short form and long form, rather than just short form. So try and do
Yeah.
that.
So, like, what are the camera setups that you're doing for content? You said there's one recording you, of
Mhm.
course, and then you've got the gameplay. Do you ever play with any other like different camera angles for that stuff?
So you could get like a GoPro and like mount it to your chest or your head. But for the most part, I just use my iPhone and like a Amazon tripod, and I set it off like 45 degrees, like from my rig, and I just record myself. And then there's, you could go back into the replays and record your gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So like say you got a good run and I'm like recording, I usually like clap and I'll like go back and like watch the run and like see where in like the timeline of the video I record it, and then I go back in the game and I'm like, oh, it's this run. I clip it and then I throw it in like CapCut or Adobe and then just edit it 50-50 from there. But a big thing now, some people are like hopping on the trend of like realistic clips. So if you've ever seen like these sim racing videos that have like tens of millions of views, they just make something like super realistic looking. So like in the game, like mods, you could add like filters to the game to make it look realistic.
Okay.
And so you could set up different camera angles because you have no limits in the game. So you could like set up camera angles that like no media person has ever gone to and just record stuff and make it look realistic. Like there's this one dude who was on like a Toge road in like an RX-7.
Yeah.
And he like would come down and like his camera's sitting like right on the side of the road, of a road no one would ever stand behind because it's just woods back there. And he just like comes down and throws the fattest backy around and like grinds the guardrail all the way around. And that clip has like 40 million views.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So the realism effect is kind of like RC stuff.
Yeah.
The realism is what people still go for.
Yeah. Like seeing the realism is it. Like there's that one dude, I forgot who was driving it. Like at Grange, I think it was Grange, they did like a 360 in that vet, like, and it blew up a couple of years ago. Yeah. So it's like clips like that showing off and it looking realistic in the sim. Like that video, I think has like 20 million views, and that's in real life. And then you could do it in the sim and it looks like the same. Like it looks realistic. It could also get, 10, 20 million views.
That's so wild.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, yeah, besides that,
yeah,
you
little
seen
tangent there, but
yeah, no, we could go all day about that because that's cool. I love the concept of RC stuff and sim. Everything always just tries to be as realistic as possible. There's an art to that, and I love it. But your content seems more consistently on teaching and being informative, whether it's about sim setup, like settings and all that. But why have you decided to focus more on that rather than, your average making stuff look realistic?
I went down that route because, well, to be like, I guess, brutally honest with it, it's like eventually I want to get into like FD, or I want to drive an FD.
Okay.
And FD is a business, right? Having your own program is a business. So giving away the value now and just showing like, hey, like I know what I'm talking about and I'm giving away value and I want to like help people. I feel that's going to help pave a different way where I'm not just, getting followers and likes because I posted up some cool clip, but it's like,
yeah, in the end, none of that stuff matters anyways. Like, the people that want to watch are going to watch. So whether they're subscribed or not, doesn't matter.
Exactly. So it's like me trying to leave an impact rather than, just not farming for views, but just trying to focus on views, like focus on building an audience where I'm nurturing the audience with information and value rather than just pure entertainment.
Shit back too.
Yeah.
Just wanting to give. That's good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that is the correct way to approach just content in general.
Yeah.
Not even if just trying to make a business out of it. Like if you're just wanting to do content for fun, even then I still think just sharing the info that you know, because someone's going to benefit off of it. You never know who they know.
Exactly.
And so on and so forth. So as far as some of the videos you've made, more the educational ones, which ones have done best for you, and what were they like about?
A lot of the ones that I've done the best is like really the simple stuff on how to like set stuff up in like Assetto Corsa or stuff like
compared to what? Like compared to what videos that don't? Like what are those about?
Like really nuanced stuff. Like recently I've been like putting out like tuning videos, like how to tune in the game, because there's not a lot of info on that, like how to work that out. So I put one out on like tire pressures and stuff like that, like the nuances of Assetto Corsa tire pressures. And that got like, I don't know, like 10, 15,000 views. And then I made another one where it's like how to like record the camera stuff. And that's like super simple. It's like one thing you click and it's like done. And that got like 70, 80,000 views. And then there was one where you could drive on the roof I don't know if you're like offended by people driving on the roof in the game, but like you could do that. I don't know. I don't really care.
Oh, what? That's people get offended by that? What is,
Oh yeah, there's a whole
what do you
like
mean?
section because this is a whole tangent in and of itself.
I'm so lost right now. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, so when you drive in the game, you can like drive in the cockpit or you can like drive on the roof of the car.
Oh, like a remote control. Like if you were just driving with, your regular Xbox controller or something playing Forza, and it would have the aerial view almost. Is that what you're talking about?
So it's not like third person behind you, but it's like imagine you move your head like where you're looking at and you move it like a foot above like the middle of the car, like in the front of the roof line, and you're
What
like
the
kind of
hell?
looking down. Yeah. That sort of thing.
People drive like that in
Yeah.
the game?
Esports people drive like that. Some do because it's more competitive. Because
What?
here's my stance on that. When you drive on the roof, right, and you have like a single screen, you're not as immersed, right? So you can't
Okay.
see everything. You have blind spots where you can normally see if you're like in VR or something.
Gotcha.
So in order to be competitive, you drive on the roof so you don't have those blind spots. And say you're on like a 24-inch monitor, you can't see anything to begin with. So that's just another helping tool.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And a lot of people feel like doing that is like taking away from the game because you can't see like the points of references like you would in the car. But in my opinion, it's like driving on the roof, you still get those points of references. And it's like people practice like that who are pros. Like
Yeah.
I know Connor Shanahan used to drive like that. There's plenty of like European drivers, American drivers that drive like that. And it still benefits them. It's just,
That's so crazy.
yeah, it's just getting that full perspective, I guess, and not limiting yourself because of the equipment and the screen you're on
Yeah.
is just more helpful. But that video, to get back on that topic, that video got like 100 or 200,000 views, something like that. So it was a really basic thing again.
I wonder if it's because people want to be that creator type person rather more than actually learning how to set up a sim properly. Do you feel like that's a problem in the sim world at all?
Trying
Like,
to be a
where
creator?
people are getting into doing sim not necessarily to be able to be a better driver or, set up a sim properly. Like they just do it for the content.
Not
stuff.
necessarily.
Is that a thing?
I think if you do that, you're in for a world of hurt because it's very difficult.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
It's very nuanced, and like once people blow up, it's like those people will stay up there. It's like the YouTubers from back in the day. It's like they've grown their brands from like Let's Plays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you're getting into the sim just to make content, it's like you're not really gonna go far with the content. I know Andy Haley made some stuff where he was like drifting a T-Rex or something like that. But
Yeah.
like that stuff can only go so far and you're only so limited on it. It's like,
I'm sure there's a niche growing very rapidly for it. But it would take some very out of the box thinking to make some content that's very consumable to the outside.
yeah.
Where people that don't necessarily do sim racing nor care about it could still watch it.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's like that realism stuff. And then before I moved more into the informational side of things, it's like I would post crash clips because no one would post like the fails of things.
Oh,
Those would
okay.
do really
Like
well.
bloopers.
Yeah, like
almost.
bloopers. And those would get like 1 million to 2 million views.
Dude, yeah, actually, speaking of that one, there's a reel floating around right now whenever I don't know the terminology that he used, but whenever the like what is it, a chat room? Or it's not a chat, but like whenever you get into the same server with a few guys, whatever it is, when the server turns into a death match or whatever, that was the caption of it. And it's just like 4 drivers just completely slamming each other at New Jersey
Oh,
FD
I
layout.
have seen that. Yeah.
Oh my God, I died laughing when I saw that. And it's just a stupid video, but
yeah.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
The bloopers could be.
The stupid stuff is really like what I kind of capitalized on. Because it's like, I'll be honest. Like I capitalized on that because they did well, like the crash stuff. And then I have how not to drift circuits. Those always did well. like how to drift FD Atlanta or something like that. I posted those on like my page, and then Forsberg would also post them, and like
That's
combined,
cool.
it'd get like 400,000 views. I'm like, it's not too
Interesting.
shabby. Yeah, it's just teaching people because it's relatable to
Yeah.
FD. It's not so like niche like a certain VDC track. It was like Formula Drift. Those would do well. And then like I had a call to action at the end. It wasn't even well edited. Like it shows me going back to like the pits and not even me driving like at the end, but I had a call to action, and it was like it wasn't super vulgar. It was like, send this to someone like you'd let sit on your face or something like that.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And it got like 50,000 shares. And I'm like, Jesus
That's
Christ.
hilarious.
I wasn't expecting it. But yeah, I kind of capitalized on that. But I post one like every once in a while, but really trying to move more towards the educational side of things over just the blooper stuff. So
that's funny. Well, you seem to have kind of made a more business approach to it with the educational side of things. You have like a course now almost.
Yeah, it's kind of like an inner circle community. So I have like a community Discord that's free, but then I also have like, it's called a school. So it's a newer platform, skool.com.
Gotcha.
So like it hosts like you could ask like questions in there, and it's like more direct. It doesn't get lost in like a Discord chat. And then it also hosts like some courses, but it's like included in like the membership of it. So it's like how to tune your car, social media tips, how to start like,
That's cool.
reaching out to people, that sort of thing. And then I have like weekly calls for it too. So like once a week I'll go in, like hop in the chat and like, or like a call with everyone who's like in the inner circle, and we'll like help each other like drive and stuff like that. And then there's one where it's like more of a coaching style call. So there's like a topic. So like the first week was like how to start building relationships with companies, and I'll like bring on a guest, or it'll be myself.
No way.
Yeah. So that sort of thing. So just trying to provide value. And I know there's like a paywall behind it, and I hate that, but it's just like, I got to pay the guests. I got to pay for like servers and cars to get made. So I can't go like, can't be burning cash out here for that sort of thing.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah.
No. So, well, how much is it?
It's $20 a month. So
okay, that's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not horrible.
So like, what would be the ideal person you would want to reach for that?
Yeah.
Like, who is your ideal audience?
Ideally, the ideal audience is sim drifters and IRL drifters who are interested in sim racing. So it's anyone who's a beginning or advanced, because we go over both topics, like some more higher level thinking stuff, like how to build how to build a pitch deck and stuff like that. And then we also have like, how to enter, how to do a donut, how to do a clutch kick entry, like stuff like that. The more simple things. So really reaching both of those types of things.
Gotcha. Okay. So I guess you're talking about pitch decks and stuff for sim drifting. So like that's becoming more common, where you're getting full on like sponsorships and stuff to do virtual drifting.
I would say it's becoming common, but I feel like it's always been there. Like YouTubers, like gaming YouTubers, have always had like brand deals and stuff like that. It's kind of similar.
So there's still got to be some like content creation aspect to it.
I mean,
it can't
it's just
be like a VDC driver.
Yeah, it's just like IRL, where it's like you gotta have content and be a driver. Like you can't you gotta pay your media guys and that sort of thing.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah,
Jesus.
But yeah, it's becoming more common. But again, it also reaches to like the IRL drifter who may be interested in sim drifting, right? And they may, it may like collide, where a lot of what I like say can also be applied into, the real world, where it's just like, what value can you provide to companies, where it's, a push and pull type of thing. Like you scratch their back, they scratch yours, where it's not just like, put our sticker on your car and you get 15%. Like it's actual like value-based stuff, where it's not, that sort of discount stuff, where you have leverage, I guess, with
absolutely
how you can, how you can carry yourself, that sort of thing.
Okay. And like, I guess for you personally,
Mhm.
who are your sponsors to you directly
Yeah.
for only VDC? I guess it would be all entirely just sim drifting. but
Yeah.
whatever.
So I'm sponsored by Extreme Sim Racing. Can I shout out the code real quick?
for sure.
Forsberg Racing, 5% off everything Extreme Sim Racing. Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah. So I have all my Sim Magic equipment from there. I'm not officially sponsored by Sim Magic, but I just use all their parts from Extreme Sim Racing. That's like the booth
Gotcha.
at FD. It's the Sim Magic Extreme Sim Racing booth.
Yeah.
And then Grip Royal directly from them. And yeah, really that's it. I always tag like Recaro in my videos because I have like a Recaro seat.
Mhm.
But right now, before I'd have like 5 to 6 at a time because it's just, it was sim racing. Like last year I'd have that. But like this year, it was like I was getting more involved with the Forsberg stuff, and it was just like assimilating with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So in like the competitions, like in the sim, I would just run Chris's car, like the same livery. Oh, how can I forget? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Rick Motec. I'm sponsored by, I'm sorry, Rick Motec. Gosh,
Ooh,
how can I forget? Man,
slap on the wrist
I'm
now.
sorry. Yeah, God, I'm gonna get a nasty email next week. It's gonna be great. But yeah, Rick Motec as well. So Rick Motec, Extreme Sim Racing, and then Grip Royal. But before it used to be like 5 or 6 people. What do you call it? Yeah. So in the game itself, I wouldn't run any of the stickers on the car. It would purely be content stuff because that's the
Okay.
ROI that really just benefits these companies the most is making content.
Mm-hmm.
And then throwing in the esports aspect as well also helps too. But like content stuff is where it's at in the sim world right now. And that's probably because of like the whole like gaming stuff and brand deals through that.
Okay.
It's still like serious with that sort of thing. But yeah, this upcoming season, I would like to, have like Forsberg Racing representing, but have more so like a car that's like a program towards me that I've like kind of like gotten built / Forsberg's team has helped me with it.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, because a big thing in like sim drifting, it's embarrassing to say, but like some people on their cars, they'll run like Hankook, Falcon Tire, Toyo Tire, Nexon Tire, GT Radio, all the tire brands on it. And it's like, and then, they build a small following and they go out to people and they like hit up companies that are like interested in sim racing. It's like, why you got all these stickers on your car?
Right.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah. So
especially all being tire sponsored.
Yeah, it's
tire
not
logos.
great. But yeah, sim racing I feel is getting into that direction as more and more people discuss about it and it gets bigger and bigger, more money flows in and there's more opportunities with, getting partnerships and building company relationships with different companies.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see like in 3 to 5 years what some people can pull off with that sort of thing. So
Okay. So what is like the average sponsorship for virtual drifting look like then? Like what does it consist of?
So
obviously content's going to be more your deliverables,
Mhm.
but like what is the sim drifter himself get out of a sponsorship?
So I like it to be where, it's relatively balanced, right? So the deliverable will probably be content like, hey, company X, Y, and Z, let's have, a year contract or a 6-month contract. And I post, 2 to 3 times a week with your products. And my videos average 50,000 views per chance.
Mm-hmm.
And then really now it's just product based stuff. There's not a lot of people like the bigger people that are more creators, not really in the esports space. They're getting paid per video to use, the product.
Okay.
Now it's really just free product / discount product stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a position where I got paid per video when I
Nice.
worked with
Nice.
Moza and I helped build their like TikTok page from like 0 to 20,000 followers in like less than 3 months. So it's like
Hell yeah.
built that sort of thing. But for the most part right now, just because of how early stage we are, it's just, discount and or free product. And then
Gotcha.
also there are some companies like Extreme, they have like a commission program where it's like you use whatever, like a code, like I know some esports drivers that have a code, you use it and then they get a kickback from it. So that's how they like, measure the ROI. It's like how many times people will use your code at checkout. So that sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, then what is like the biggest sponsorship you've seen from any driver for virtual stuff then?
Biggest, let me think.
And you
here.
probably don't know like the exact details and
I
stuff,
don't.
of course, but
So there's this one dude, he's from Japan. I know they have a whole sim arcade, and he really grew his page. And he's sponsored by, I think it's like an angel investor or something. Because
really?
He's getting like a GR86 built for D1. He's got like an S13. Yeah, he's got like an S13.
Damn.
He drives in D1 lights. Like, that's the biggest I've seen.
Big money.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know him too well, but there's a couple people in the US that have like not really direct deals, but they make decent off of like commission based stuff. But then it's like the creators I know some of them are making, they have some big like multi 5-figure deals with people.
Yeah.
Like what do you call it? Like the Jimmy Broadbent guy I mentioned earlier, like he's sponsored by Moza, and that's on all of his cars, and he's like a direct driver for Moza. I don't know, cool. He got all like the equipment and stuff, but he has like 1 million subscribers, so I can only assume he's getting some sort of financial compensation that's, I assume, also handsome. So
yeah, this is all speculation.
All speculation.
We don't know anything.
Don't kill me, please.
Yeah.
I'm just guessing. Yeah. But
okay.
the Japanese guy is like, that's a thing. Like, he helps run the sim arcade, and then he's getting that 8.6, and then he has the S13 too.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
It's crazy to see what Sims can do now. It's it's hard to even imagine what the future holds for it, just as far as sponsorship or technology or just affordability, all of it.
Like, I'd love to see, like, because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but World's Fastest Gamer. Have you ever seen that before?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Or like the Gran Turismo movie. Have you ever watched that? Yeah. So like, people get the opportunity from playing the game and they move over to the sim. Like, I'd love to see it like, like a top line VDC driver, they get a drive for like pro spec or something like that.
Yeah,
I think that'd be
cool.
really cool to see and just see how it shapes up.
Teams are growing, man.
Yeah.
It's got to be able to get to that point eventually.
Yeah.
Well, I guess speaking kind of along the lines of that, you said you technically drive under Forest for VDC.
Forsberg.
Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Forest.
I said Forest, didn't I?
Yeah.
Forsberg. Apologies, my bad. So you technically drive under him for VDC. How does that work? Like, what is the deal or contract worked out through that?
Yeah. So the past couple of years have really just been like a growth phase, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, it's very much how I look at it, it's very much a long-term thing. Like, just growing. Like, I'm young.
Oh yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
20, like, I have time. So now it's just like, connecting to different, sponsors and stuff like that, or different companies, and just building connections that way. Like, Forsberg's team, like his management, helped me get that extreme deal, like the extreme sim racing deal. Yeah.
Nice.
So just slowly assimilating into what they're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sort of thing.
Mentors. I say it all the time. Mentors are the best thing ever.
It's true. I've had a couple mentors, and they've been a great help. But yeah, so right now the package is, it's very simple. It's just I drive, and then I make some content for him, and then I get paid from the content and that sort of thing. It's very simple. It's nothing too crazy. I'm not getting paid like big bucks to like do esports stuff. I would like that, but it's not there. But yeah, that sort of thing. It's just growing that relationship, like connecting within the FD space. Because like, if I didn't join Forsberg, I probably wouldn't be here, and I probably I wouldn't be connected with people through FD or Grid Life or anything like that.
Yeah. So you wouldn't have the rig you have, probably.
All that stuff. Yeah. So like, they've been a great help for that. Yeah, that rig too, like the chassis, the Ricmotech chassis was through them as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like slowly starting to, build something amazing with them, something special.
Yeah. It seems like you're in a good position, because it's that niche is very innovative at the moment. There's
Yeah.
a lot of routes, and even I've thought of different ideas that I could do with sim stuff, incorporating it with the podcast. And like I want to talk to a sim company, but I've never really had the in until like I could probably talk to Ryan Literal and get in touch with Sim Magic somehow, and see if they would be interested. But again, like it's very niche. Like it's something it's so hard, especially to explain to a company too.
Yeah.
But that's cool though.
Yeah.
Like you're still making even if it's small bucks. Like that's still cool to say.
Yeah.
Like,
and I think like Forsberg and that whole camp is the most invested into sim racing, like in sim drifting too. You know, all their cars are in the game. You know, they're very welcoming. They're very open to the idea. They've tried to, you know, toss ideas to different people. Let's try to do X, Y, and Z. So they're very open to it, and they're looking forward to it because, you know, planes and cars, that's the only two sims that really like work. Like you can't play Call of Duty and then go learn how to, you know,
true.
work that sort of stuff. But yeah, and then, you know, Forsberg is also teamed up with Brian Highcotter. That's their like circuit driver, and he won the Gran Turismo Challenge in the US back in 2012. So it's same thing with the movie. He got to drive the old Altimas and the Altimas or Maximas, I forgot. But also racing like endurance races with the GTRs and like Dubai and stuff like that. So they're very invested. So I'm very thankful that I have the opportunity to be in that camp and work with those people, just because of how open they are and how involved I am with like their program, their drifting, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, they seem to have a lot of faith in something so new. So like, what is their theory as to what the future holds? And why they need to be jumping in it so soon? If you know that, I don't know it entirely,
but they do say like sim racing and planes is the only 1-to-1 comparison of like simulators.
Right.
So it's that sort of thing. And we've seen it with the Gran Turismo Challenge and like circuit racing. So like, why not drifting? You know.
But where are they seeing like the value potentially going to be so invested in sims this early on?
I mean,
like, do they see it being something that could be as large of scale in audience in or not, I guess viewership would be the same thing, but drivers or whatever as FD? Like, do they see it becoming something that is an equivalent almost because it's so obtainable? But I wouldn't see the spectation being there, but obviously online you don't necessarily need the spectation.
Yeah. I mean, the obtainability is definitely there. I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth. I honestly don't know. I know it's like the 1-to-1 aspect, you know, those, you know, that whole sim racing area is growing year after year. You know, eventually we've seen it with Grid Life once. We've seen like the circuit racing, like what's called LAN events. So at like the track, there's like races like that. And I'd love to see like, you know, FD or DMEC or D1 or Grid Life or whatever bring in like a, you know, like there's a main sponsor like Extreme or Sim Magic, and it's like their equipment, and there's like a like in-person event, that sort of thing. Because you look at, you know, you look at League of Legends and stuff like that. Like they're selling out arenas to watch people play League of Legends. You know, that's crazy. Yeah. And just, you know, the expectation with sim racing, I guess, you know, it's growing. And then there's the aspect right now getting over it is like people not thinking it's, you know, it is 1-to-1 or it's helpful or sim racing dumb, like the closed-minded people getting over that. And then it, you know, it expanding because of how obtainable it is, and seeing the transition from, you know, some sim drifters to real life drifters, or race car or sim drivers to real life drivers, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think it would be cool to use for like fantasy battle stuff.
Yeah.
Because that seems to do really well for LZ World Tours and all that. So I would assume carrying that over into online drifting would be pretty good to draw in some viewership.
Yeah.
I would think.
I think.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's like I know Jacob from FD has said it multiple times. Like once there is like a Fortune 100 company like in FD, then it's just gonna shoot upwards.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
feel maybe not a Fortune 100 or even like an Inc. 5000 company, right? But a company with some investment into sim racing or sim drifting, and they get it right with the content and the marketing and all that stuff.
Mhm.
I think it could definitely be something that they could see. Because, behind the scenes, what you don't see, it gets intense, like people are yelling, people are, like if they lose, they're like yelling, they're going crazy. So there is that intensity and that drama factor there. It's just really exposing it like to the world on a stage. I think that's
Yeah.
really the next step it needs to go, like in
I
order
could
to
agree
get
with
to that next level of things.
Yeah. More convention type
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Well, just in general, for anyone not necessarily looking to drive a real car anytime soon, but they do want to get into the VDC stuff, how would one approach that? How do you get into it? Is there an application process? Like how does that work?
Yeah. So VDC is like the FD of sim drifting, right? So it's not like, FD Pro 1, you can't just show up with whatever you got and be like, hey, I want to do this. There is like a bit of a process you got to go through. And that may seem daunting, but really it's not once you look at it. There's certain series you got to go through. I think there's 4 or 5 different series, and then VDC will host like a licensing event to get your license. That way, because it's a worldwide event, right? It's like everyone across the world who does sim drifting wants to be in VDC. So you got to choose the best of the best, and these other competitions. Yeah, a lot of people. So you got to choose, the best of the best. It's usually top 3 to top 8 of a series. There's a certain series you go into. And if you could prove yourself there, then you get your license.
That's wild. I would arguably say that you would probably find better drifters within VDC than you ever will in FD or any type of professional drifting, because most people will not have the budget or the knowledge to gain the budget to get there.
Yeah.
But if you slapped one of those drivers in a normal car and gave them like a few months of seat time in it and then threw them out there to the wolves with those FD drivers,
Yeah,
I guarantee you they would at least, they may not mop the floor with them, but they'll at least hang.
they'll hang. Yeah, especially so. There's this one case. He actually spoke the first week in like my group.
Yeah.
His name's Alan Hines. So he did real life. He actually corrected me with this. He did real life driving first, and then went to sim and got really, really good in the sim. Like he's won multiple championships,
Lucky bastard.
that sort of thing.
Suck.
And then he moved back into real life and the sim at the same time.
Okay.
And he drives IDC now. So he's leading the points in IDC. He's done Drift Masters like Mondello. He's a really good driver. Like if I had $1 million and I could like invest into a driver, I would want him like on my team, like driving. Because I think he'd
That's
kick
crazy.
ass like anywhere. Yeah.
Huh.
And then you see like Reese Tatterson was the first. So he won a Drift Masters championship back in 2021. He drove Peter's S15. I don't know if you've seen the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wheeled that thing and he was tandeming with Peter and everything.
Absolutely.
And then Zach, Ryan Literal spotter, he drove his S15. He was cooking in that thing. I want to see him in Pro Spec. Like I don't think he should do like a Pro-Am series. I think he should just go straight into Pro Spec and see what happens.
I swear, within the next couple of years, there's gonna be a sim drifter that's going to figure out a way to market himself correctly to where companies are going to believe in him, build him a car, and send him out to the wolves and just let him fucking...
I'm trying my best.
Someone's going to do it. I know someone's going to do it.
Yeah, I'm trying my best. October is going to be a great month. Lots of emails.
Well, my fingers are crossed for you. I really hope you figure that out.
Yeah.
And I know that's going to take a lot of work to get a company to believe in something like that. Yeah, good luck to that.
Yeah.
I really hope you figure that out.
Yeah.
And like kind of set a path.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you can figure it out, nail it down, and then incorporate it into the course. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
That'd be great. Like I think I'm pretty decent at the marketing thing. Like in like how I afford to live, I operate and own like a marketing agency.
Nice.
So I do that sort of thing. So I have a little bit of experience in the marketing space. So just leaning into that a little bit is what I think could, I guess, set me apart from other people.
I think the only thing that would hold anyone back would just be time. Just getting the companies to really comprehend what's happening in that area and that online space. I guess. That's so interesting, dude. I'm excited to see where like sim drifting actually ends up because it's grown way too fast.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, correct. Don't get me wrong. But besides all the sim drifting stuff, even with Forsberg, you still work for him as a spotter, not for him, but for Alex, correct?
So Alex's spotter now is his wife Shayna, and then I come out to some of the events to help with like, like just correcting some things or like seeing things. I guess another like perspective of that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. So were you originally his spotter, or she always?
She's always been. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, what is like how does a weekend go for a spotter? Like, what is that even like? I assume you've tailed behind it and seen it all at least.
Yeah. I spotted for Chris actually in Jersey. So this past event, I did that. Subbed in.
We'll get to that in a second because I'm sure that's interesting.
Okay, for sure. I mean, a lot of it is just collecting data, being really analytical with things. Like as a spotter, you're essentially the driver's eye in the sky. Like you rely on them. Yeah. Right. So it's like, you can only see so much from like in the car or like sense so much. And in my opinion, so it's like one of the most important roles within the team. Like I feel like every part is important within the team, but like driver and a spotter, if they could vibe well and spotter gives good info to like help the driver, because a good driver, like when they get feedback, they listen to it and they, they make that correction. So if you could have someone who like is out there, knows what they're doing, seeing everything. If homeboy's like a foot off of, coming in the keyhole in Atlanta, you got to tell them that and make the adjustment. Good on them. Keep that going and consistent throughout the weekend. But yeah, I feel it's a very important role. Taking a lot of data, seeing what other people are doing,
Okay.
A lot of laptop or phone usage, taking notes, times, that sort of thing. Yeah. So all that good stuff.
I'm sure some drivers have like specific stuff that they want, but like in a general sense of majority of drivers, what is good info? Like what would be good info to provide to any driver?
That's a good question. So I guess Alex and Chris are two people I've spotted for, and they like a lot of info. So they like to be specific, I guess. But in general, what everyone should be doing, it's like, if they're off somewhere and they're sucking, you should probably say that they're sucking. Not, good job, man.
Babying them and shit.
Yeah,
Don't
babying
do
them.
that.
Don't do that shit. No, like be real. If they get mad at you, then like, why are you there in the
Sounds
first
like
place?
a personal issue to me. I don't know,
exactly.
dog.
But yeah, I think being critical and delivering information in a precise way, and getting the point across on what they need to get better and what they're doing well. Also emphasize on that, not just the negativity. Like give them some confidence, but also be like, hey, these areas you can do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
that's what every spotter, like no matter what that person does, because some people might be ADD or they can't focus for too long, so you got to be like 10-second clips of like just talking. But yeah, that's the main thing is don't baby them and then give precise information and be honest with them.
Okay. So then what is like some specific data proven, I guess, details that you think every driver should be taking advantage of from their spotter?
I think
like you can put a factual proof, data proof behind it.
Just like really simple terms, I think recording runs is great. So it's like
in any sport,
footage
is the best.
It's great.
Ever.
Yeah. So it's like, for example, when I was in Jersey, I also sparred for Alex. So we won't get into the Chris thing yet. But for Alex, I would be out. There's like 2 rows of grandstands. I would be out in the corner. Like every practice, I would be out like in the entrance of the exit of OZ2 or the entrance of OZ2, and I'd record the runs, right?
Mhm.
I'd come over the radio, he could be like 2 feet off of OZ1. Having that video to just like secure it and be like, hey, this is where you need to see, and them seeing it is great. There's also like times and stuff like that, but in my opinion, like drifting shouldn't be about times. It should be like,
I see people talking about like how fast their lap was, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why?
I
I understand, like maybe in some scenarios, last four people in the competition, you're worrying about how fast you're going. Maybe okay,
Yeah.
whatever. But just in general, worrying about that
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
In drifting,
I know. Yeah.
worry about your grip.
Yeah.
That's about as far as it goes.
The biggest thing I think the drivers should worry about is their line. Because once they get the
Mhm.
line down, the speed will just come with it. Because, if, just, I don't know, homeboy, whoever is running like on English Town, the average time was like from white line. So start line to finish line was like an 18 flat, like 18 seconds throughout the course.
Okay.
Say someone runs like a 16.7, right? You can't really take that for granted. Because they could be cutting the track in places. They could be
I could see
shortcutting
where that could
or
come
like
in handy
straight
then.
lining from like inner clip 1 to outer zone 3, and it cuts like half a second out, right?
Mhm.
You got to focus on the line and the angle over everything else, because once you do that, then you get smooth, you get more committed on the throttle, then you become faster.
That's interesting. Is that part of like your job requirement to do this stuff? To be the spotter, or do you just kind of do that out of wanting to?
I just do it out of wanting to. So like Atlanta,
Okay, cool.
local track, they'll pay for like, hook me up with a hard card and like tickets, and
Hell
then
yeah.
just, hang out, do some spotting, enjoy. I'm still a fan of drifting. Like, sure, I'm like in it, but I'm also, a fan of the sport.
Right.
I love watching it,
Yeah.
I know some people, they're like team, like I've seen teams, it's like their driver loses, they just go back to the trailer and just like sit there and do whatever.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's like, if like Chris or Alex loses, I'll still like, I'll go in like wherever like the guest area is or wherever, like go back, like talk, whatever, and then go back up and watch, because I still, enjoy watching the sport as the sport, of drifting. So
Right. Okay. Well, then I guess let's talk about the Forsberg stuff. So, how different was it compared to spotting for Alex before?
So the Pro Spec field, there's a lot of good drivers in Pro Spec, but it's like the level of driving from Pro Spec to Pro is notably different. Like everyone in Pro is like ready to kill and ready to just go and try to win, right? There was a little more like stress to it, because it's like, oh, it's Chris Forsberg, and I'm like, I got a spot for homeboy, and it's like, okay. But yeah, doing that, there's good communication always with the team. Same with the Pro Spec side, but a lot more. So it's like car setup was a big thing that weekend, so a lot of communication with that. But yeah, I also bought a stopwatch that weekend just to, for the pro side, because some of those guys are just so friggin' fast, like for no reason. It's like, how are you so fast? So getting that, seeing who's the fastest, who's the slowest. And yeah, it was just a lot, like being on your game all the time for pro spotting is definitely, it's a little bit of, a little more of a stress factor, and like stressing on like different things. You gotta be super precise with it, because, Chris is the type of guy where it's like, if you tell him to go a foot back, he'll do it. Like Alex is like good about it, but he's like a little stubborn. Chris, if you tell him like, hey, you're a foot off of outer zone 1, he'll scoot back a foot. It's crazy.
Wow.
He's like a robot. I'm like, what is going on?
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is impressive.
God, dude, the amount of like skill and seat time and just comprehension of a car to be able to do that.
Yeah.
This is absurd.
It's insane.
My God. And just being able to trust your car like that. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And even, we were like dealing with setup stuff. Even with the setup issues he wasn't happy with, he'd still do it. And it's crazy.
You're a madman, bro.
Yeah, it's wild.
That stuff is crazy. Forsberg is a genius. I mean, what he's put together so far, and even just look, like Not to even like, I just drink this shit all the time. Like I'm just addicted to them. But to have a company like that on board is just insane, especially for how long they've been on board.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he does a lot for them, you know?
Oh,
does a lot. He's been in there. He like does, you know, commercials. He just made a thing where he went with like all like the dirt track and the NASCAR people to like some track and was racing Formula 4 cars. So it's
hasn't he been on like gas station posters and stuff too? Yeah, I swear to God, I've seen you in gas stations, bro. That's so cool. That's like any kid's dream. Like you can make it on a gas station poster for a company. That's nuts.
Yeah, it's insane. He's definitely like up there with people who've made the most impact on the sport. Like one of, if not the biggest person to make, you know, as a driver to make an impact on the sport for sure.
Crazy. And he's never like tossed you the keys and been to any of the like seat timesies or
well,
you know, all the like, hey, do a couple. Go, let's see if you can do a couple laps.
I was gonna drive Alex's 13 in Englishtown, like for Pro Bro Down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the axles poop themselves.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
It's always something that gets in the way.
Always something. But yeah, all the seat time cars are in California, and I haven't been out there, but
oh, okay, that's fair. Yeah,
soon is all I'll say. Soon something will happen. So
nice, nice. You're gonna do a video on that, right?
You know it.
Cool.
You got to.
Yeah, you gotta like those. Those
hit hard.
Hits on YouTube.
It does.
It hits. Because when Literal did it, that shit blew up too. And I was like, wow, that's just a hot topic for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely record that. Do a good video on that.
Next week, I don't know when this is coming out, but was today the 13th. Next week, I might do something. It's not a drift car, but driving a certain type of car. Like, and I'll make a video on it.
Cool.
It's like Sim Drifter to X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to spoil it. I also don't know if it's happening for sure, but
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. Well, shit. Damn. So you've never drifted a real car?
No, I've only ridden in 3 cars.
Damn, dude.
Never drifted a car. No.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get you in a car.
Yeah.
Like
it's got to happen at some point.
I know there's so many drivers out there that are so good. I want drifting to grow. I want it to be more affordable. It's really hard. Doesn't work very well. We'll get there one day.
We'll get there one day. Start reaching out to local people. Help local contractor, you know.
Yeah.
$200. That's some fuel, some food, you know. So
exactly.
Anything helps.
Exactly. Well, I know you mentioned that the ultimate goal is to eventually drive in Formula Drift and stuff. And like, do you hope that the path opens up one day with under Forsberg to where maybe you take the 370Z seat or whatever it is?
Yeah, for sure. I think, and I hope it is, because I've always, you know, seen Forsberg, what he's done, and then seen what Alex is doing, all that good stuff. I mean, yeah, I'd love to drive, you know, a Nissan Z of some sorts, whether it's a 370 or a new Z. I think that'd be really cool. And to be under the Forsberg like umbrella would be cool too. But no matter what happens in the future, I would like to be an FD, like doing something, but more so driving the car. That would be something I'd like to check off the list, because it's First FD event, I'm like, I want to do that one day.
Yeah.
So,
well, Chris, if you're watching, it's a real thing now. It's on the internet. It's on the internet. It makes it real. So
it's true.
If the opportunity ever arises, he's waiting. Or any other team. He's not going to say that, but I will.
Okay, that's crazy. That's a crazy statement. No,
they're good people. It's not. It's like that's gonna happen eventually. There's gonna be an FD. I shit you not. It probably will not be FD, actually. It'll probably be Drift Masters.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a team over there before here. There will be a team that grabs a sim drifter and puts all of the faith in it.
Actually,
if it has not happened already.
Yeah, it's happened already with RDS or something similar with the Russian series. So there's one guy named Tikhon.
Oh, Russia?
Yeah.
Oh, I believe that.
There's one guy named Tikhon Pileski. I don't know if you follow RDS, but he has a team. They have faith in him. They bought the runner-up like champions car of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
It's an E30 with a turbo LS, all carbon Kevlar body, and he's just driving it. Yeah,
dude,
it's super, and it's super sick.
What a dream! Yeah, come true.
Drift Masters they have their series this year, like a virtual Drift Masters.
Yeah.
That's why I think FD should have a virtual FD. I think it'd be sick. And it's like
It's good for
FD is
marketing.
bigger than Drift Masters. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so he won back in 2022, and the prize was to drive in Poland at that stadium track in a rented like S13.5 like hatch or something like
Okay.
that. But unfortunately, due to like political stuff, like with the war, because he's from Belarus,
Okay.
and Drift Masters
gotcha.
doesn't let any driver within that sphere of like whatever. I don't know if I
Mhm.
could say that R word on YouTube without it being all messed up, but in demonetized. But yeah, that he was gonna drive, but because of that, he wasn't able to. So it's cool to see him
That's
now, like
whack.
finally get the chance. And it's not just one round; it's like a whole, whole season, a whole
season.
program, that sort of thing. So
That's so nuts,
super
dude.
sick to see.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see how that turns out. That'll set, if it goes well, that's gonna set a major path moving forward.
Yeah,
And a lot of teams are gonna pick
Yeah.
that up.
it just sucks in like. Because RDS, I don't even know if you could watch it here in the US. Like, I think it's like you got to have
I
a
don't think so.
like a VPN and stuff like that. It's So I don't know, but Drift Masters or FD, like whoever picks it up first,
Yeah.
hopefully it does go well. I think it will. Like I don't see how I could see how it can't, but hopefully it goes well.
Definitely can see how it
could
can.
definitely
Yeah.
go wrong, but hey,
Um,
I hope the best. I have faith it will go well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Actually, speaking of the whole FD virtual series, I think that would be really cool just for the factor of those same drivers could be driving in the virtual one and could be absolutely dog shit in virtual, but killing it in real life.
Yeah.
And like that just brings a whole different level of shit talking
Yeah.
and like, I guess, what's the word? God, I can't talk today, dude. What is going on? Like want to be involved or
yeah.
drama factor or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think
the
that'd be
fuck I'm trying to
cool.
talk
I think
about.
that'd be cool. Like some like FD drivers come in and do like virtual stuff. I know like, well, who is it? Like Frederick, Ryan, Nick, a couple other people, Forsberg. They all do like sim stuff. And I know Ryan and Nick compete in Hiroya, especially. That kid's a G, and he's came from the sim, so it's awesome to see. But yeah, if there is like some people come in like FD drivers and then like the virtual side, I think it could be, I think it could be cool. And FD's got a great platform, could be good for marketing stuff, that sort of thing. So yeah.
Sick. All right. Well, I guess we'll just go to the last few questions actually, because it's a good place to go from. If you were to build a like dream seat time car and you had all the budget in the world to spend it in Juku, what car is it going to be for one, and what parts would you put on it to be the best seat time car?
A dream seat time car. I'd probably just get a 370. Now a lot of people are like 350 trained, but I'm more 370 because 350s are so expensive now. Like you could get like, unless it's not clapped out, like it's gonna be like $8,000. Like if it's a decent 350, it's gonna be like $8,000, and you could spend like a couple grand more for like 10 and get a 370, and you get more power, more car. It's shorter. It's a lot more marketable. I'd say 370. I don't know how the diffs are on those cars. They might be, and I've heard mixed things about them, but at least get 370 set of BCs.
Absolutely, BCs.
PBM front and rear.
Big FDF guy, but
okay, it's to each their own. To each their own.
I don't even know if doesn't Juku even sell PBM?
I don't know.
Can't remember.
I don't know.
I should know that.
They don't. They should. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, probably.
They got all the WiseFab stuff.
Yeah. So, what is it? 370 PBM front rear set of BCs. Good old grip royal steering wheel.
Absolutely.
Recaro bucket. Gotta feel, get that. Some hydro. I don't know. Maybe a PBM hydro, something. Then a set of good old wheels. I like the wheels on Alex's car now. They're like the Motegi MT159s or something. They look, I think they're pretty sick. So, set of those, nice and simple. You go rip forever and you get, good car, good 370. So
Hell yeah. I like that. Dude, I don't the Neos that I put on my car, the Kansei Neos look extremely good on the Z's. And even like this isn't a Z, but Drift Jesus. That's the one car that I did not expect those Neos to look good on, and it's a C6 Corvette.
Oh, he's got a set on the C6.
The chromes on the C6.
Interesting.
And it's wild. It looks so good for no reason. But yeah. Dude, I swear, the Neos, they look good on a lot more cars than people think.
I don't know. I have more negative emotions towards the Neos. I like simple
okay.
5-spoke wheels.
So you probably like the K.
Yeah, those
KMPs,
are nice.
really.
Yeah. I like
this
those.
was my favorite Kansei whenever I first heard about them. But
yeah.
Well, hell yeah. That's a good seat time car. I like that.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good old computer mouse gang. But okay, then I guess for your perspective, what would be your best piece of advice for anyone getting into the sim drifting world?
Just start, I guess.
Just start.
Yeah, just start sim racing. Like a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people find it daunting or they don't know where to start. Just do some of your research. Don't cheap out on things. That's another big thing. Save a couple more paychecks and get something nice that will last you a few years. Because even if it's not like top of the line stuff, if you get like new stuff that's of like the latest model, it'll last like 4 or 5 years and you don't gotta, buy something new again. Yeah. So do that sort of thing. Just do your research, start doing it, and don't cheap out on stuff are my 3 biggest tips of the day for sim racing.
Awesome. I love it. Hell yeah. All right. Well, then if you had the opportunity to speak to the entire world, what would your one message be?
Like, in what way? Like a sim drifting way? Just anything?
Life in general.
Let me think here. I want to say something like real sentimental or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a deep question.
I wasn't expecting it. It definitely threw me off. We're talking about sim drifting. It's like, what's one thing you tell the world? I guess, like, in, general terms, love yourself is a big one. I guess, confidence in yourself, that sort of thing, taking care of yourself. That's good. We're all on a grind, we're all trying to get somewhere, but take the time to take care of yourself, because if, your biggest enemy can be and is yourself. So, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're letting, your mental, whatever, your physical stuff, if it's getting in the way, you're not going to be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish. So that's my message there.
I like that. That's good. Well, cool. Do you have anyone you want to shout out or plug yourself, your companies, your whatever?
So shout out to Rick Motech, Extreme Sim Racing, Grip Royal, and of course, good old Forsberg Racing for getting me to this place on, that's why I'm here, which is dope. You can follow me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram at Brandon Gardner 404.
Especially if you want to learn about sims and sim racing.
Learn about sims. If you ever have questions, like you don't gotta join anything, like just send me a DM and I'll happily get back to you. Like, what sim should I buy or anything like that? Like, feel free to DM me, and I'll get back to you. And if you want a more, intimate experience, like a more one-on-one approach to sim drifting, making drifting more sustainable, getting sponsors, sim drifting, all that good stuff, you could join Boundless Racing. You could get started and join the community. And we got a little tight-knit group, but, teaching people, making people better, and making drifting fun and sustainable. So
awesome.
That's what I got.
Love it, man. Hell yeah. All right, well, that's pretty much all we got. So don't forget, before 11:59 p.m. tonight, Central Time, get signed up for the giveaways on the 100th episode. So, and also look below the video. Make sure the subscribe button is not still red. And hit the bell notification while you're at it. Of course, links to any parts and stuff that we talked about. I know we talked a lot about Sims, but any parts you might find on Injuku, especially if you're in the middle of building your car now. So, that's all we got. I will see you each and every Sunday for a brand new episode. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's all we got. So, peace.
Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want 4, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. Stacking way up to the ceiling. Trust no bitch, can't catch no feelings. I've been taking long flights from the Bay to Ibiza. Hit home runs, I'm a ball like Jeter. I just want 4, then I leave her. I'm a young pop star, call the boy Justin Bieber. Got a little money if you want, I can teach you. Whole life a movie, you can watch it in theater. We in the bag of the band, shit like a sauna, she working a sweat. Told her come over, bring her and her friend. Put her to work, gotta earn in the rent. Fucking so good, you should pay me for.